boxer who had 138 fights. His final record was of 100 wins with the 27 losses and the 11 draws. A multiple belt holder, and we are lucky to have him on the show today. Jeff the Flash Malcolm, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you, Paul.
Mate, this question I ask all people, and is how did Jeff Malcolm get started in boxing?
Paul, I think it was like every kid, we all went to the police boys club, we all put the gloves on and everybody had a spar. Just that I went all right with it, and then other kids would come to the gym and they'd say, anybody want to spar? Well, they all nominated me, and it just went from there,
Wow.
You know yourself, if you do good at something, you like it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, mate. So, please tell us about your amateur career and who trained you, mate. You must have had so many trainers, but first of all, tell us about your amateur career, how many you had and what accomplishments.
I had about 7 amateur fights. And,
is that all? Geez, I thought you were going to say about 80 to 100 there. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had 7. Johnny Lewis trained me in the amateurs.
Yeah, for your whole 7 fights?
Oh, yeah, most of them, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, and then I was about 11, you know what I mean? I was 11, 12-year-old. So that was it. I had them, and then, because I was playing football at the time, to be honest, I was pretty keen on football then, you know? Yeah. Just wish I had the ability.
Well, you had it in the boxing ring instead. Okay, moving along. You turned pro in 1971. Yeah. Can you remember that very first pro fight, mate? Did you realise you would go on and have over 100 fights and 100 wins? You can remember that one? John Cassidy, 1971, Guildford Rugby League Club.
John Cassidy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I won a 4-round decision.
Yeah.
I had white trunks with red band and piping.
Yeah, jeez. Mate, is it fair to say BoxRec's got your record pretty spot on?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Wow, that's unbelievable. Okay, you've turned pro in 1971. You had a mixed year. By 1972, you had a record of 2-3. Please tell us about your early pro career and what you did to turn it around.
In those days, you had to be 18 to get into the club.
Yeah.
I was 15.
Yeah. So you had trouble.
You know what I mean?
So you've had trouble getting in.
No, not so much trouble getting in because you're fighting, they let you straight in.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know what I mean? Like, really, like if I was fighting today, there's a lot of fights that I wouldn't have been allowed because you have to be 18 there, don't you?
Yeah, you do. To turn pro, yeah.
Yeah.
You sure do.
Well, but, mate, I was getting paid as a pro. You weren't getting paid as an amateur.
Yeah. You're better off turning pro these days. Okay,
yes.
You fought Brian Roberts 3 times with 1 loss and 2 draws. Please tell us about your fights with Brian. These were earlier on in your career, of course.
Yeah, he was gifted, Brian. He was a very good fighter. I was honoured to fight the 2 draws with Brian. You know?
Wow.
I went to his funeral, Brian.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely bloke. Very nice human being.
Okay, 1972 September, you had a 4-round draw with the late Wally Carr, and I've had Wally on the show too a couple of times in the past. What's your memories of the Wally Carr fight?
Yeah, no, Wally was tall. It was hard to get in all the time with Wally.
Yeah.
I sparred Wally a lot,
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. And every time they fought a Southpaw, they used to come down to Roy Carroll's gym and spar, like we used to always spar down there. And I knew Wally. Wally was the bouncer at Hazylands. Mm-hmm. It was a nightclub in the city, So that was where everybody hung, Hazylands. So I knew Wally real well. We'd sparred a lot. We'd run into each other, and we ended up fighting a 4-rounder. He knocked me down, Wally.
Did he?
That was the first time we got knocked down against Wally. Yeah.
Okay, moving along. In November 73, you fought future Australian welterweight champion Neil Patel. It was a draw. What's your recollections of the Patel fight?
Yeah, it he was a pretty good fighter. He come down from Townsville. He was in Townsville then, and he moved to Brisbane and got with Reg Layton.
Mm-hmm.
But, it wasn't a bad fight, 50-50.
Yeah. Okay, in April 74, you had your first fight with Billy Mohler. You would fight Billy 6 times. Please tell us about your battles with Billy Mohler. 6 times, mate, that's a lot of times, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I fought Billy the first time I got disqualified. He fell to the canvas and grabbed hold of my leg.
Yeah.
Well, I pulled my leg away. His knee hit him in the face.
Oh, God.
So they disqualified me.
Yeah, jeez.
So, anyway, there was nothing bad about it. We were still friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was at Blacktown one night. He was going to fight a bloke called Gilberto Biondi. He was a pretty good fighter. And Biondi walked out because Billy never made the weight.
Yeah.
And what happened, I was sitting in the crowd and they said, "We'll give you $300 to fight Billy Mohler." I was working for $23.10 a week.
Yeah.
And they said, "We'll give you $300 to fight Billy Mohler." I said, "Yeah."
You jumped up off your seat.
I jumped in and fought Billy.
Yeah.
Well, then one night, a bloke pulled out of one of my fights, and they rang Billy up, and he come down and took the fight at short notice. So,
jeez.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, and he walked in, I thanked him.
Yeah, of
said,
course.
"No, you did it for me, mate." So,
Yeah.
and
That's great.
look, mate, really, that's why boxing's such a great sport. You know, things like that. You know.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Helping each other out. All that hard work didn't go to waste.
Yeah,
You helped each other out, and that's the way it works. Okay, in April 75, you won your first title with a 4-3 on TKO over Kim McCain. Please tell us that night you became the New South Wales lightweight champion, Jeff.
I played football at Henson Park on a Sunday.
Yeah.
The fight was on a Tuesday night in Newcastle. I played football and a bloke punched me in the face and split my eye open.
Oh, God.
And I get to the gym. Straight away, I rang Roy Carroll up.
Yeah.
And I met him at the gym. And I said to him, "What do you think?" He said, "Don't worry." I know what he said, but he said, "Don't worry about it. It'll be all right." So he taped it up before the fight. And I think if he would have hit me, Kim, it would have split open, you know.
Right.
But I was lucky enough it only went a few rounds and they stopped the fight and that was it.
That was in the back of your mind, wasn't it, mate, not getting hit, so you wanted to get it over and done with.
Oh, yeah, because as soon as I get it, that's the end of the section.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay, that's interesting, mate. You soon followed your win with 3 fights with Billy Mulholland. You won 1 and lost 2, including your New South Wales lightweight title. What's your memories of the 3 Billy fights?
I won the 3 of them.
Yeah? I like that.
I didn't get the decision, but I won them.
Yeah. Okay.
So, that's enough said, you know.
Okay. Moving, I like you. That's good. In October 75, you fought Ross Eady. You would fight Eady on 2 occasions, unfortunately losing both fights. Please tell us about them fights.
The first one was very controversial. A lot of people thought I won it.
Yeah.
But, to be honest, Ross was too big.
Aussie?
He wasn't a talented fighter, but he was a big, strong, rough bloke, Ross, you know. And what year was that?
That was in 75.
How old was I? 18, wasn't I? It would have been about 18,
Yeah.
right? So I was just 18. Like it's my German pros so young. That's why it was hard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Right.
I was 18. At least I was old enough to get in the clubs then. But yeah, he was a big, strong bloke, Ross. We ended up pretty good friends later before he passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we always do, don't we? In April 1976, you would fight former Australian lightweight champion Matt Ropers, winning a 10-round decision. Now, we've had Matt on the show. What's your memories of the Matt Ropers fight?
I was lucky to survive.
Yeah.
The first 7 rounds, I went real good. Boxed. They were 2-minute rounds, the fight.
Okay.
So, Roy was a promoter. We chose. Anyway, I boxed real good. I was winning every round. The last couple of rounds, I was lucky to survive.
Yeah.
I was, you know, just exhausted, you know.
Was that the fight in Griffiths, or was that?
No, that was in Marrickville, Arizona.
Okay.
That was, at the time, that was the Australian champion.
Was he? He was too.
Australian lightweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we fought a non-title fight, yeah.
Okay, November 1976, you won the Australian Light Welterweight Championship with a points win over Billy Mulholland. Please tell us about the night you became the Aussie champion.
That was in Wollongong. I think it was Port Kembla, yeah.
That would have been a great night, Jeff, for you winning the Aussie title.
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
1976. In February 78, you fought one of the all-time Australian greats, Hector Thompson. You lost by a split decision. What's your recollections of the Hector Thompson fight? Would have been a cracking fight, that one, mate. I wish I had a time machine, Jeff. I could go back in time and watch these fights.
I boxed very good that fight.
Did you?
Yes. The crowd thought I won it because they threw beer cans in the ring.
Right.
But the funny thing was, I tell you what I liked about Hector. Look, honestly, Paul, I'm not just saying, I'm pretty sure I won the fight.
Yeah.
Right? Hector said to me after, he said, mate, you kicked my ass.
Did he?
You know, so... And that's... They threw beer cans, but I don't know why they threw them because Hector's trying. It wasn't, Hector didn't give the decision.
Yeah, right.
So that was it, you know. But really, I would have liked to have fought him again, but you go one way and another, it just never happened, you know.
Yeah, okay. Well, you must have been on fire because in April 1978, you would outpoint over 10 rounds future IBF junior lightweight champion Barry Michael. What's your memories of the Barry Michael fight?
Yeah, I boxed good that night.
Did you?
Yeah, I boxed good. Yeah, it's in Melbourne, so, you know, it was funny because when I got there, they said to me, it's a 9 stone 12 limit.
Yeah.
No one told me about the limit. So here I am panicking before the weigh-in, but I got on the scales, I was right on the limit. But no one even told me about the limit. Would have been nice if I...
But you made the weight anyway. You just made it.
Yeah.
Okay, in September, this is getting interesting, this. In September 1978, you fought baby Cassius Austin, winning a Commonwealth and Australian Junior Welterweight Championships. Wow. Please tell us about them fights.
Look, to be honest, Cass wasn't right for the first fight.
Yeah, at least you're honest.
He wasn't, mate. He was overweight. You know what I mean? He wasn't right.
Yeah.
So... I won the fight. I won the fight because I just outworked him and he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
Well, then after the fight, they said, we want to fight you again. So I said, yeah, all right, but we fought in Griffith. So we fought again. I was lucky enough to win the second one was a real good fight. The first one, Cass just sat on the ropes because he just... Apparently he took off about 5 pounds because in those days you weighed in at 12 o'clock the day of the fight.
Yeah, right.
Well, he was that morning he spent it down at St Kilda bars taking weight off, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay, moving along. In March 1979, you travelled to Nigeria and you were outpointed by Obsia Nomwak. Did I say that right, mate? Losing your Okay, you lost your Commonwealth title. What's your recollections? You're fighting Nigeria.
Okay. I am the Commonwealth champion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm number 5 in the world by the WBC.
Wow.
And I'm going to Nigeria to fight a bloke, a Nigerian, with 3 Nigerian judges and a Nigerian referee.
Yeah.
What mentality have the people got that are organising fights?
Oh, no. Not much have they, mate.
When Mario Guerra said in Griffith, mate, I'll do the fight here. And I said, you give me 10,000. He said, mate, I'll give you 10,000. So, you know, I know, mate, it's just crazy, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had your back to the wall straight away.
Oh, well, I've missed like 6 rounds already.
Yeah.
By fighting in his hometown.
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
Yeah. Okay. In November 1979, you defended your Australian Junior Welterweight Championship against Frank Ropus. You won by disqualification in the 3rd round. What did Ropus do to get disqualified, mate? Because I've had him on the show, and we had a good laugh about this one.
Well, the first thing was I didn't disqualify him.
Yeah.
I was fighting, and the referee disqualified him. Right?
Okay.
So what happened, when you hit a bloke low, when you headbutt, when a bloke goes down and you know what I mean? Like you're going to get disqualified. It doesn't matter who the referees are, they're going to disqualify. Well, I think he had weight trouble.
Yeah, right.
Because after that fight, he moved straight to welterweight.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you just know what you're saying, mate. Okay, in January 1982, you had 2 controversial fights against Peter Berrigan. Please tell us about those 2 fights.
They weren't controversial.
They weren't? Okay.
No, I won both of them.
Yeah.
I don't think he hit me the first fight. I don't think I got hit. 12 rounds, I don't think he hit me.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it was the people judging. Well, you know what I mean? Like he had his own people there. Like, and then what happened? The second fight, I fought Thomas America. He was number 2 in the world, and then I went back and fought him. I said to Johnny Lewis, I don't want to go back there.
Back to Newcastle and ended up in jail.
I don't want to go back there. I don't want to fight the bloke. I don't want nothing to do with it. Because no, it's all different this time. It wasn't different, mate.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't different, you know.
So you fought him twice in, was it Newcastle, both times?
Yeah, Newcastle.
Yeah, right.
So, mate, it was easy going to Nigeria.
Jeez, I like that. Okay, in September 1983, you had a fight in the USA on the Cortez vs Stokes Heavyweight Championship undercard. You defeated Aaron Pryor's conqueror, Bobby J. Young, on points. Please tell us, how did this fight come about, the fight itself?
What happened? I went to Hawaii. Me and Johnny Lewis went and watched, because it come to a point in Australia where the only way I'm going to get beaten now is that they just rob me. Mm-hmm. And after the Peter Berrigan fights, what's a good a fight? You're only going to get robbed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So Tommy the Drunkers brought out Thomas America. Thomas America was number 2 in the world. Mate, I won every round against Thomas America. So that to us, that proved that there's no one else in Australia. You know what I mean? Like, so what are you going to do? Keep fighting Peter Berrigan? You're only going to get robbed anyway.
Yeah.
So I said, let's go over. So what happened? Larry Holmes' brother, Ron Holmes, he helped us. He said, I'll get you with Don. So we went and watched Jerry Cooney fought Larry Holmes. So we went to that fight, Johnny Lewis and myself.
Wow.
So what happened? We met this person, met that person. We come back. We made some phone calls, and I went to New York and met with Don King, and I stayed in the camp. So I was in the camp. I was sparring. I did everything, and they offered me to be honest, right? I didn't know who Bobby J. Young was. So Tim Witherspoon said, "Oh, you fighting Bobby J. Young?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, he's a good fighter." I said, "Yeah, so am I." But really, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
So they said, "Oh, so you're fighting Bobby J. Young." He turned up with about, mate, his entourage was about 20 people. So anyway, we fought him. I knocked him down a couple of times and I won the fight. So everything was good. So the next day, I met Carl King, met me in the office, and he said, because he told somebody to come and get me, so I went and sat down, and he said to me, "I want you to stay here. I don't want you to go back to Australia." So I said, "Oh, yeah."
That must have been
He said, "Stay here and fight Munro Brooks." Munro Brooks was in the top 10 in the world then. He said, "Fight Munro Brooks." He said, "You'll beat Munro." He said, "And then you can fight this." I had a bit of an altercation with Leroy Haley was the world junior welterweight champion, WBC champion, and he was contracted by Don also. He was in the camp. I didn't get on with him. He went out of his way to talk down to you. You know what I mean? Like, and so I upped up straight away, and I had the backing of. I got on good with a lot of people there. You know, like Mitch Greenwell was very good. Tim Witherspoon was a good friend. Michael Dakes, we used to run together in the morning. So all these people was good, and they all had they all got behind me, and then so they asked me to spar Haley one day. So I jumped in and sparred him. After that, I really got the respect of him and everybody. It was really good. So that's when I got offered the Bobby J. Young fight.
Okay, because
so everything went good, but what happened? I should have stayed. I fought Monroe Brooks. I come home.
Looking back, yeah. Geez,
that Bobby coming home.
Bobby J. Young. He must have been something else because he beat Aaron Pryor.
Yeah, did he beat Aaron? Yeah, that's right.
What a fight.
I think he's the only one that ever beat Aaron, eh?
Yeah, I'll have to check that out afterwards, but...
Yeah, I think he's the only bloke that ever beat him.
Okay, moving along, in your next 5 fights, you won or more. Then you're running the lease in 1985. You lost a 12 rounds points decision. What's your memories of that fight?
Mate, I stayed in Australia. I didn't go home. And do you remember the illegal gambling places that never existed in that era? Well, I worked at them.
Yeah. So they did exist.
I worked, I was working nearly every night.
Yeah.
And I got away with it for the first year. But working night after night after night after night, it just took its toll.
Yeah.
Everybody said to me, you've got to retire, you're finished. But it just took its toll. And the funny thing, I was very close with Trevor Christian.
Oh, yeah, I remember Trevor.
Yeah, and Trevor said to me, mate, you've got to stop working all the time because it's going to take its toll. And I didn't understand what he meant. And then he said to me, do you remember when I fought Jackson McQuaid? I said, yeah. He said, I was working at East Lee's Club every night. He said, it takes its toll on you.
Yeah.
He said, eventually, the funny thing was, eventually it took its toll, mate. I lost, I don't know about kilos, but I lost 2 stone in the truck to get down the weight and all that. It was just, but mate, working nights is a killer.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Oh, it takes its toll,
Yeah, I bet it does, mate. Well, you went on and won your next 7 fights. Ronald Dew, Anthony Nadeau, Stuart Hartley, Rod Price. You're on fire. Ray Andra, Robert Garcia, David Chaffee, Brad Mulgarigi, and then you're running the Wolf Jensen. In 1990, you lost a 12-round points decision for the Australian welterweight title. What's your recollections of that one?
Yeah, he was too good on the night, Wolf.
Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't my night.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, wasn't he? Okay.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
In 1991, you were too. You finally received the world title shot against tricky American southpaw Manning Galloway at Jupiter's Casino. You lost by unanimous decision for the WBO Welterweight Championship. What's your memories of the Galloway fight?
Yeah, I went after I lost to Wilf.
I strung together 4 wins there in a row.
Well, I went to America, so I went to Hawaii. So I had friends, and I fought there, before and that, and I rang up and they said, "Yeah, come over." So I went over there, and I had the fights over there, and because every day you train and you're not going anywhere, you're going to bed at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I was going really well,
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? I fought a bloke in New Orleans, and I beat him. And he was the WBO were looking at him. Well, when I beat him, that got me the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
But then a bloke called Lou Duva trained.
Remember Lou?
Well, he trained everybody, Evander Holyfield, and he was there. And Lou said to me, "I'll tell you now," he said, "the guy you just beat is a 50-50 with Manning Galloway."
Yeah, right.
He said, "all you got to do is be fit." He said, "and you're in with a big show." I said, "Oh, yeah." So what I did, I just trained and trained and trained. The day before the fight, I was 2 kilos under the weight. So that was, now when you look back, it's stupidity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. You do look back and think that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that was the end of that. That was, if you could only do it again.
Yeah, you change a fair few things. Okay, March 1994, you just would never give it away, would you? You travelled to Fiji and you won the WBF Welterweight Championship. You defeated Savita Tabaruna by unanimous decision. Please tell us about that night you became the world champion.
Well, I went there the first time, and I got my eye cut.
Okay.
And it was from a head clash, right? So I got my eye cut. They stopped the fight, giving the decision.
Oh, jeez. Only in Fiji, eh?
Only in Fiji, right? So the WBF had me rated in the top 3. So what happened? Derek Millam was the representative here, and Derek said, "Look," he said, "I'm going to order a rematch." So they ordered a rematch. So I was there to order a rematch. In the meantime, the welterweight champion had moved up, so the title became vacant. So I was there, and then Derek got it where the number 1 contender was humming and hawing about coming to Australia. And so what happened? I fought Savita for the vacant title. So that was Derek Millam did that. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. In June 1994, you defended the WBF World title in Brisbane with a third-round TKO over Tato Regatuna. What's your recollections of your first title defence? Must have been a great
Regatuna, yeah. Yeah, he was perfect for me. He couldn't fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a big, tall, long bloke, and I just raced in and started throwing, and all he done was back up, so
yeah.
I had a field day that night, you know.
Doesn't happen too often, does it?
No.
Okay, November 1994, you travelled to the Philippines. You fought former WBA junior welterweight champion Maurice Dees. You lost a 10-round decision. What's your memories of that fight?
What a great fighter, Maurice East.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, he was a fantastic fighter, unbelievable fighter. It was an honour to fight him. He was a great fighter, Maurice. Did you notice I never won a fight in the Philippines?
No.
You never ever won a fight in the Philippines.
Mate, no one, and no Aussie ever will, because there hasn't been one since you, mate.
Hussy.
Yeah. No, he was a good fighter. There's some good little fighters over in the Philippines, mate. Okay, your next fight again in the Philippines, you lost another 12-round decision. Your WBF welterweight title to William Magahin. What's your memories of that fight? William McGahn.
Yeah, he was just physically too big, you know, too big and strong.
Yeah, right. Okay, what was it like travelling to the Philippines? Because I've been over there myself and fought.
Well, it's funny because when I went back to fight William McGahn, Maurice East met me at the airport.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
And he hung around us. He hung with us right through, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, after you lost your world title, you kept fighting for another 7 years, having great success. You finally hung up the gloves in June 2002. Looking back at your career, who would you rate as your toughest opponent?
Well, Maurice East, like I said, was a great fighter.
Yeah.
But I think the most skillful and the best fighter was I won the Commonwealth title of Lockie Austin.
Yeah. Okay.
Cass was special.
Yeah.
He was so gifted, you know. He's a relative of Lionel's.
Is he really? Okay.
So you know where he gets that from. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He was so gifted, Cass. God, he was a good fighter.
You must have sparred many rounds through your career. Please tell us about some of the big names you sparred. I mean, God, there must have been a long list of them, Jeff.
Well, I tell you, it was funny. I was at Currumbin Beach on the Gold Coast, and I just went up and when I was in Hawaii, the blokes are there. They were well connected, you know, and they sent me an email. What do you call it? You know, what do you call it? A fax.
A fax, yeah.
Yeah. You're booked on a flight tomorrow to be in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
So I had to race and grab everything, and I flew to Hawaii the next day. And when I got there, they got a party for me. And they owned a bar. They owned a bar there, you know, the blokes I signed up with.
Yeah.
And I said, what's happening? They said, you're going to Virginia tomorrow. I said, who? They said, you are. I said, what for? They said, you're sparring Pernell Whitaker.
Wow.
Pernell Whitaker. They said, Lou Doolin wants you to come over. So I went and spent, I was there for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
Pernell, yeah. We ended up really good friends, yeah.
Unbelievable. What was it like sparring Pernell Whitaker?
Well, if he threw 100 jabs,
Yeah.
probably 97 would land.
Yeah, God, okay, I'm with you
What
now.
a great fighter. He was just so special, Pernell, you know.
What a shame, mate. He passed away.
Oh, it shattered me.
What a shame. Hit by a bloody car. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like
he's a great fighter.
I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2016 at the WBC convention, mate. I went up and I was having a good old chat with him. Yeah. I couldn't believe it, mate. I was pinching myself chatting to him. Unbelievable.
It was so good because as a not just a boxer, I've always been a boxing fan. And then, people like Evander was there, and he was trained by Georgie Benton. Georgie Benton, I after training of a night, Lou Duva, Georgie Benton, and myself, we used to go and have a soup at this Italian restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd sit there from about 8 o'clock till midnight when they were closing the place and just sit and talk and laugh and argue. And it was just, every night was, for me as a boxing fan, was fantastic. Georgie Benton, it doesn't matter what it is in boxing, he has an answer for. He was unbelievable, He's the brain of the man, Doesn't matter what question you asked him, he had the answer.
Yeah. Mate, in this day and age, who's the best fighter you've seen worldwide? Does anybody stand out?
The best fighter?
Yeah.
Australian?
In the world, then I'll ask you, who's your best Aussie fighter?
The best fighter in the world? Jeez, there's so many.
There is, isn't there?
I think Ray Leonard was one of the best I ever saw.
Yeah.
I think Ray was... When I fought Bobby J. Young, he was a commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he come and settle low and, there Australia.
Yeah.
He was a very good amateur, Ray,
He sure was.
Yeah, so...
That's a good choice, mate. Who was your favourite all-time Aussie fighter? Any era?
Two.
Okay, who was your two?
Lionel.
Yeah.
And Tony Mundine.
Yeah, wow. Good choices, mate.
I think Tony was very underrated, mate.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? I had Tony on the show nearly a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've had them all on. I've had them all on, mate. It's great interviewing guys like you, mate. Jeff, before you go, I'll start again. What advice have you got to any young kid that wants to be a boxer?
Find a trainer that's fought.
Yeah, I love that. That's a fair call.
The thing that irritates me about this sport today in this country is they got these blokes as trainers. See, I don't think they should be allowed to have a licence unless they've at least fought or... Have a look today.
Been hit on the whiskers,
You have a look at the blokes today that never had a fight in their life, that never were game enough to get in the ring and fight someone. All of a sudden, they're telling people how to fight. Paul, how can I teach you to cook if I can't cook?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Oh, it just gets on my nerves, you know what I mean? And what they are now is they're personal trainers, aren't they?
Yeah, you can...
They're personal trainers. All of a sudden now they're boxing trainers.
Put a pair of pads on and you're a boxing trainer.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, don't start me on that. Jeff, what have you been up to since you give away boxing away? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm very close with with Matt Rose and that, we've been friends for a long time, and when Matt when he got started promoting, he rang me and told me all about. I was in Indonesia. He rang me in Indonesia and told me, and I said, "Oh, that's great." And when I got back, and I do, we still argue every day on the phone. And he rang me yesterday, and that, I always say, how do you know? But the funny thing is, I think Matthew's very gifted at what he's doing. And with Tim's going fantastic.
He sure is.
Yeah, and what's good, but, Matt will ring me, what do you think of this and what do you think of that? And you know, it's great. And plus, you know, now George is involved, and Trent, his other brother, and you know, every time we go away, like when he's got a fight on, we always go to the fight. Or in fact, we went to the football last week. He was out up here at Suncorp, and we all went out to the football together, and you know, we had an argument out there about different fights, but we get on really good. You know, we speak to each other nearly every day, just about.
Oh, that's good. Well, you'd be one to ask advice about the boxing world, mate. I don't think there'd be no one better than you, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you right now, we've got a very, very good fighter in Chip Searle.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, mate.
I just think this he's so special. Apple trees grow apples, don't they?
Yeah, yep, they sure do.
Yeah, so...
Well, look, Jeff Malcolm, it's been great having you on the show. I've got to tell you this, I'm coming towards the end of my career. I'm having a few schooners at North Cronulla pub. I'm on the balcony. It was back in 97. I've just done a day's patrol at North Cronulla, and my trainer rings me up and says, "You want to fight Jeff Malcolm? The word is that you could fight him for the welterweight Australian title." And I said to myself, I actually said to my trainer, "Do I have to fight that bloke?" And my trainer says, "This is no word of a lie. He's long in the tooth. He's been around for a long time. Don't worry. If a fight comes off, do you want to fight him?" I went, "Oh, not really." Anyway, the fight never come off, and I ended up fighting Stephen Squiggins instead. So there you go. I bet you didn't know that one, mate.
100 years ago now.
Don't say that, mate. You're making me feel old now.
Well, it's funny. I was because I was on the radio this morning. I went and got my haircut. You see, my wife thinks there's something wrong with me. You're on the radio, not on TV.
Look, Jeff Malcolm, it's been an absolute honour having you on my show, mate. I've had them all on, and now I can add you to the list, my friend.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Jeff Malcolm, for coming on Boxing Chat.
Okay. See you, mate.
Talk to you soon, mate. Thank you.
See you, mate.
Bye for now. And that was Jeff Malcolm. What a great interview. He's got 100 stories, that man, but we've only got so long. We'll go to a break and